guys, what's going on? We are 3 rounds through the Northern Trust, the first event of the playoffs. It's been really fun so far. A lot of scoring, a lot of crazy numbers. It feels like every day, at least a couple guys are tying the old course record. And one guy in round 3, Cam Smith, shattered it by shooting a 60. So it's been a lot of fun. Had some big names in the mix, have some very live outright bets, guys that we backed pre-tournament. So a lot of fun so far. Sadly, though, so it's Sunday morning. No golf today, though, because of the hurricane or tropical storm that's coming through. So final round is going to be played on Monday, which is quite the buzzkill. But that just gives us a little bit more time. We can do an update. I was planning on doing something a little bit earlier, my normal kind of weekend preview, but my kids have been sick, so not in the cards. But hey, the weather window gave us an opportunity to do a bit of a final round preview. So we're going to do that, go through some of the stats, take a look at the leaderboard, and then do a really quick preview because there's not a lot of to work with right now, but do a quick preview of the BMW Championship for next week. So take a look at the course. We don't know the field because the top 70 won't be set until this thing is done, but obviously the big names are going to be out there. So we take a look at the course, take a look at some of the hole-by-hole flyovers, get a sense of things, try and get a head start on that while we're waiting for the conclusion of the Northern Trust. So jumping right into it, if we bring up the live leaderboard, data golf, so John Rahm, Cam Smith, tied at the top, 16 under par. Eric Von Rooyen, EVR, is one shot back. Justin Thomas, who he backed pre-tournament, 27-1, 2 shots back. Tied with Tony Finau. And then Victor Hovland, Shane Lowry, a couple others round out the crew at minus 13. Brooks Koepka is on the first page of the leaderboard. He's another guy we backed pre-tournament. He is 5 back. So data golf has basically given this to John Rahm, Cam Smith. Collectively, they have, about a 62% chance of winning this thing, and then everyone else here in the minus 15, minus 14 range has about an 8% shot at it. So, obviously, John Rahm contending is going to do that, right? He's the best player in the world. He's gaining in all facets of his game, as he normally does. He's a really tough out. I will say, the past couple of times that he's been even a 36-hole leader, even a 54-hole leader, if you exclude the Memorial and the Withdraw, this hasn't happened very often, but he finished, I think it was the 2020 Masters, where he was leading through a couple rounds, and DJ ended up winning it. So this is not over yet by any stretch of the imagination, but obviously we need to think about who's got the right skill set this week, who's got the right club in the bag that's driving their performance that can make a run at him. Because even though, he's 1 shot clear, him and Cam Smith are both 1 shot clear of EVR, 2 shots clear of JT and Tony Finau, we have seen some very low scores this week. We've seen some 62s, 63s, 64s, and Cam Smith shot a 60 today, so which is 11 under par, absolutely ridiculous. So there are guys that could, in theory, pop from, a few shots back. Hopefully, if anyone does it, it's Brooks, but it's not over, right? So we need to, think about it. We can take a look at the live leaderboard. Obviously, the live odds are going to reflect more or less these probabilities, but we can take a look at how guys are getting it done. Take a look at, some of the round 3 stats even. Think about if there's a guy that can maybe make a push here. Or if Rahm's just going to end up, shooting a final round 64 and running away with it. That's entirely possible too. So if we jump over to the live stats through 3 rounds just in total, you see Cam Smith has actually gained a little over 6 strokes on approach. Not as, crazy with the short game, which is kind of crazy. I think a lot of this obviously was round 3, but he's getting it done in all the right ways. I think it's really hard to follow up a 60, though, with another low round, but he could definitely do it. John Rahm gained 4 off the tee, 5 on approach, 3 with the putter, so doing it, again, in all the right ways and true to form John Rahm style. I will say, in round 3, he did dunk 2 balls in the water, so maybe there's a little bit of he's not like a mentally weak guy. That's not what I'm trying to say here, but maybe there's a little bit of, something going on in there, right? So maybe that'll get into his head a little bit, especially when he has to take those same shots again. So hopefully, for at least our sake, having backed some of the guys in the chase pack, we would like to see him struggle a little bit tomorrow. Erik van Rooyen's doing it almost all with the short game. So I actually think of all the guys at the top, he's probably the least likely to stay there, just given the performance and how he's doing it. Tony Finau just couldn't make a putt in round 3, but he was pretty dialed in from approach. Justin Thomas, same kind of story. He's gaining a ton on approach. He's actually gaining with the putter, though, this week, which is great. This is exactly the formula you like to see for JT. If he's doing it the way that he typically does, but just gaining slightly with the putter, he's going to be in contention. We're seeing that this week. Shane Lowry shot a 62, I believe, in round 3. Did it almost all through approach, neutral with the putter. It's a really good sign. He's been dialed in for a while. So I'm not surprised at all to see Shane Lowry up here. He's a fixture in a lot of my Draftkings lineup. So this is really good to see. Tom Hoagie, 7 strokes with the putter. I'd expect him to fall off a little bit in the final round. I mean, it's one round, so of course they can keep it going, but just statistically speaking, this stuff is not sustainable. He's gaining in his other facets, but there are guys much further back that are, like Hudson Swafford, which is kind of crazy, is gaining almost 9 strokes ball striking. Like that's absolutely ridiculous. That's John Rahm level, but he's losing with the putter and losing around the greens. I don't know that I go too far back here for looking at guys that are live for the final round, but I will say Brooks is kind of interesting because he's 5 shots back. He's doing it in all the right ways. He struggled a bit to start round 3, but then turned it on. He shot a 64 on Friday, round 2. So he can definitely go low. So I'm not sure I'm going any further back than 11. And honestly, like John Rahm is the prohibitive favorite. But you could take some stabs down here, right? So maybe let's look at some of the round 3 data. So obviously Cam Smith gained almost 6 strokes ball striking in round 3 en route to his 60. He actually had a look at 59, just couldn't make the putt. So obviously that's really good. That's also really hard to follow up on. JT, not as strong though. I mean, he shot a 4 under round, but this, we basically need him to do what he did in round 1 again and go out and shoot a 63 to have a shot at winning this thing. Tony Finau lost 3 strokes putting. Guy could not make a putt in round 3. Who else? Let's see just who led the way in round 3. So yeah, Shane Lowry tied a course record 62. Corey Connors did that as well. So these guys, again, they're doing it in the right way. They're not necessarily gaining 10 strokes with the putter. They could be very live as well. I'm not sure that any of them are going to have the juice to do it, but it's entirely possible, right? Assuming John Rahm doesn't go out and shoot a 65, 64, one of these guys is probably going to make a run at it. Sam Burns is interesting. He gained 3 strokes on approach in round 3. That's definitely encouraging. Paul Casey too. I mean, Paul Casey's at 6 under. He's doing it in Paul Casey ways. He could be a guy that could make sense if you're doing like a final round showdown kind of thing. Joaquin Niemann as well. Not super excited about Pat Perez, but let's see. Anything else stand out? Charlie Hoffman played really well in round 3. That's how he vaulted up the leaderboard. Let's see. Yeah, that's probably it. Like I said, if I were doing anything in terms of round 3 showdown or round 4 showdown, you got to get the winner. So it's pretty safe, playing John Rahm. I think he's going to obviously contend unless he completely falls apart. He's probably going to be in the winning lineup. But figuring out basically which one of these guys could make a run at it, my favorites would probably be obviously JT. Tony Finau just needs to make a putt. He's playing really well. Shane Lowry getting it done in the right ways. Probably staying away from Erik van Rooyen and Tom Hoagie. Brooks a little bit further back. Sam Burns a little bit further back. Even Xander's playing really well. So if you can build a lineup with those guys, I think that's really smart. Keegan's gaining on with the putter this week, which is kind of crazy. He could be a guy again, he's doing it in the right ways too. From a ball striking perspective, he could move up too. Again, I'm not betting necessarily all of those guys as outrights. Probably just going to write out my JT bet, but I could totally see if you wanted to just kind of, throw a shot at some of these guys that are a little bit further back, like Shane Lowry's 28, Brooks is 50. I don't know that I go back as far back here like Sam Burns, but if you get like a live top 5 on some of these guys, it could make a lot of sense. It's obviously going to be Rahm, Cam Smith, JT that have the biggest chance of winning this thing, but don't be shocked if Brooks comes out, shoots a 62, 63 and wins this thing. I think it's a taller ask for Shane Lowry because he's going to have to putt, and he's not the best putter, but he's ball striking really well. And don't sleep on Victor Hovland either. I think, he's another guy he's only 3 back. He dunked one in the water on, I think it was 16, the short par 4 in round 3, or else he would be right there. So definitely, a lot of guys are still live, even though the model, the live probabilities don't necessarily reflect that. It should be a super fun final round. I'm hoping that Rahm just, goes out, shoots a mediocre 68. Someone like JT or Brooks goes out, fires, a low round 62, 63 and wins this. That's the best path for me. But it could be any of these guys that are ball striking. So we'll see what happens. Looking forward to it. So then, I guess jumping ahead a little bit. So we have the BMW Championship kicking off on Thursday. We'll see, hopefully weather cooperates. We get this thing in at a decent time on Monday. But folks will be heading down I-95 to just outside of Baltimore, Caves Valley Golf Club. So we don't know a whole lot about this course, but there is some interesting info out on their website. So you can basically get a sense for the scorecard. You can look at the course, do like a course hole by hole flyover. There's a lot of things that you can check out here. So one thing that immediately pops off to me is that I think just based on the layout, it's here. Let's see if we can find the hole by hole flyovers. Yeah. So like on each of these, you got a little bit of so basically you can go hole by hole. You can get a layout for the hole design. You can also watch like a quick little video, hole by hole flyover kind of thing. The one thing that stands out to me is that the rough is not overly penal. I think these guys can tear this place up. So I think the winning score is going to be, 20, 25 under par. Just, again, like the fairways, and even if you miss them, doesn't look like it's too penal. Folks with distance should have an advantage out here. So again, you got the best players in the world. I would totally expect a stud to win it. There's only 70 guys in the field too, so you can take maybe less shots, do just like a higher allocation on certain guys this week at the top of the board. That's probably what I'm going to be doing, and just kind of roll with the studs that are coming in the best form. Yeah, so what we got here at Caves Valley, it's a par 71. It's about 7,400 yards, and like I said, I think these guys are going to tear it up. It does look like we got some longer, the par 5s are a little bit longer, but should be reachable by folks. Got some long par 3s out here. Yeah, so we'll do more of a breakdown probably on Monday, even into Tuesday, depending on how things shake out tomorrow. We don't have a lot to work with. Like I said, the field for this thing is not set, but we do know that, the top 70 players are going to be there. A lot of them are locked up at this point, so you can kind of get at that from the data golf. So obviously, like guys on the bubble, Tom Hoagie would need a strong performance to stay in there. Keith Mitchell as well, Alex Noren. These guys are all kind of bubble guys, but most of the field is set at this point. Yeah, so Phil will be in there for sure. Looks like Matthew Wolf's going to get in there as well, so I think he's like 59th right now. So some of these guys are going to have to come in and knock him out, but yeah. Harry Higgs, 20% shot at it. Adam Shank's probably not getting in there unless he goes nuclear on Monday. So, yeah, the field pretty much set. I think these guys are going to tear it up, but we'll do a more detailed breakdown. But I'll throw the link out here to the Cave Valley golf club site where you can take a look at some of these holes and the flyover. But like I said, I think the main takeaways for me is that, yeah, it might be a little longer. I think bombers are going to have an advantage because the rough is not overly penal. There's a little bit of water, so accuracy is going to be important. I think guys that maybe aren't the longest can still contend here, but I do feel like there's going to be an advantage to some of those, the studs who can really bomb it out here. So anyway, should be a fun final round of the Northern Trust. Looking forward to it. And obviously we'll get our content out for the BMW Championship here over the next day or so. So thanks as always for tuning in. Hope you guys learned something. Stay dry with the tropical storm coming through, at least on the Northeast. We will talk soon. As always, if you like the content, subscribe to my channel, give the video a like. Comments in the comments are always appreciated. Let me know if you guys back JT or Brooks to see if any of them can pull it out tomorrow. Thanks and talk soon, guys.